Hello, everybody. It is Penguins playoffs eve. Tuesday night, Artistry and Finesse with you. Very exciting time of year, needless to say. How you feeling tonight, Finesse?
I'm excited. I'm a little nervous. I'm certainly not happy. We wrote about that this morning. There's no happiness involved in this process at all. The happiness the happiness is the payoff. There's no happiness along the way.
Let me tell you something, my friend. If you're not nervous, you're not ready.
Right. I'm scared. I think I'm pretty convinced that we're going to lose to the Islanders in 4 games. Like, that's kind of my mentality right now. I'm prepared for that mentally, emotionally.
Yeah, you got to be strapped in emotionally, buckled up really tight emotionally, or else you're just betraying a tremendous amount of inexperience and naivete.
I was thinking about one thing you wrote the other day, which is about how during the playoffs you end up sitting super close to the TV. It's like wherever you sit during the regular season, like in the first round you move about 25% closer to the TV, and the second round you're about halfway to the TV. And my eyes are going bad. So I think I'm gonna have my face on the TV by game 4 of the first round.
Yeah, I mean if you're fortunate enough to make it to the finals, you're essentially having intimate relations with your television screen.
All right, let's introduce our guest. Tonight we have on the podcast Eric. He's a big Islanders fan. He's a friend of mine, and he's going to try to educate us a little bit on the Islanders. He's going to tell us why we should fear the Islanders. He's going to convince us that the Islanders are, in fact, going to win in 4 games. And then maybe, if he wants to be honest with himself, he'll tell us what scares him about the Penguins. So, Eric, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys. Finesse and Artistry. That's it's cool. It's like the boy band I was never part of.
We were saying before, if you perform well on the program, like we had Dave Damashek on, and he did a nice job. At the end of the program, we let him pick a name, an honorary name, to memorialize Mario Lemieux, which is where Finesse and Artistry come from. So if you can pick your favorite Islander, I don't know if it's Rick DiPietro or...
The cheap shots are starting early, huh?
Yeah.
You can and if we don't think you've done a particularly good job, Eric, we just won't mention anything else about it.
Okay, great. Great, I like that idea.
We'll, in honor of DiPietro, we'll nickname you Long Term. That'll be your nickname.
In honor of Long Island and our future home in Brooklyn, I'd like to preliminarily ask to be called douchebag, but we can
that's
cross
fine.
That bridge when we get there.
That's how we feel about most Islanders anyway. Not the fans though, because so Eric, what are your credentials as an Islanders fan? Why should people believe what you say about the Islanders? Why are you the foremost authority on the Islanders?
Okay, well, number one, I'm definitely not. I'm only 29 years old. The Islanders won 4 consecutive Stanley Cups, 19 consecutive playoff series from 79-80 to 82-83, and then, of course, I was born.
Yeah.
After which, we lost to the Oilers in the Stanley Cup Finals, won a few series here and there, got to the conference finals in 93, most memorably, you guys might remember us taking down the Lemieux, Yager, Bowman, Penguins team of 92-93.
We don't know what you're talking about.
Right, yeah. So I'm sure you guys don't remember that, but I was 9 at that time. I was not a hockey fan, really. I just became a hockey fan that year, and if I'd become a hockey fan the year after, I might have been a Rangers fan, for all we know. But unfortunately, I became a hockey fan in 1993, so I'm an Islanders fan. So anyways, my point is the Islanders have done really nothing but lose in my lifetime since 1993. As you guys might be aware, the last Islander playoff series win was that series against the Penguins in 1993.
Sure.
We're well aware. Artistry, what were you doing? I was also 9 years old when the Pens lost that series. What were you doing? There's my dryer again. That's how you know it's going to be a good podcast. What were you doing, Artistry, when the Pens lost that series? Where were you during Game 7?
What was I doing? Where was I watching the game?
The truth? Yeah, what was going through your mind?
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, it was a glorious time. Obviously, to be a Penguins fan going into that series, we were essentially a dynasty at that point in everybody's minds, and it wasn't a question of whether we were going to win the Stanley Cup, but just how dominant we'd be on our march through the playoffs. So that remains for me the most devastating series loss of my lifetime.
Wow.
And I don't think it's even close. So what we have here is a real confluence of emotion. We have, a bit of a chance of redemption here on the GTOG side. And for you, Eric, that was really, it sounds like the genesis of your fandom. And you have had a long 20-year march through the desert.
That's
and
correct.
you're looking to come out the other side. So it's very poetic.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, I believe this is the third or fourth rebuild since I was 9 for the Islanders, but I can honestly say our backup goalie / GM, Garth Snow, seems to have hit something on the head here. We're looking, for the first time in a long time, we're looking like we're heading in the right direction.
No, I feel like everybody made fun of the Garth Snow hire, did they not? When he first became GM, it was like, they were like a laughing stock for that.
For sure. Well, we hired Neil Smith, a credible guy, and then he just sort of left amid some sort of controversy. And our owner should probably be in jail. No disrespect to Charles Wang, but his CFO is doing prison time for some faulty accounting methods, if I'm not mistaken, at Computer Associates on Long Island. And Sanjay Kumar is in jail. I guess Charles Wang, the CEO, was totally unaware of that. But that said, great man and great for Long Island. And, I'm not a lawyer. I wouldn't pretend to know about any of that sort of thing.
Right.
But I think it's. I want to get back to something real quick, because all I did was just ramble about 1993, because that's all I have that's good in my life, really, for the Islanders. But I want to stress that over the last since I graduated college in 06 or whatever that was in St. Louis, I lived in LA and then in Texas, and I've gotten the center ice package, and I'm the guy who buys the center ice package to watch other teams play in the playoffs. All right, so watching just bad teams, and you live for the types of games where it turns into Brawl City in Pittsburgh, and Talbot gets jumped from behind, and although I'm sure you guys hate Talbot now, but that was a big game for me. I'm sure you guys hate it.
You sent me a link the other day that the game 1 tomorrow night, Wednesday night, is going to be the first truly nationally televised Islanders game since 1993, when they played the Canadiens in the conference finals.
That's I believe that's correct, according to Eric Hornick, who's the Islanders statistician on their home regional sport network telecast. This is the first time the Islanders have been on network national television, not network regional. That's happened, but network national over the air broadcast signal all over the United States since 1993.
Well, he's the foremost Islanders statistician in my mind. So
and most people would say Frumpy LaRue is second, but
well, I want to ask you about the famous brawl on Long Island. I wonder, that seems to have gone in and out of the collective Penguin fan consciousness pretty quickly. I mean, nobody really thinks about that anymore. It's not like it was the Flyers, and they're at the forefront in terms of villainy for the Penguins. The Islanders are just sort of they haven't been very much of a threat. And I wonder, from an Islander fan perspective, is there animosity that's carried over from that whole series of events? Is that sort of an isolated thing? How do Islanders fans feel about the Penguins?
I don't think it's really relevant who we were playing. I think that was just the collective frustrations of a fan base and a region just lashing out at whomever happened to be there. The Talbot hit on Como, I would argue, was a cheap shot. I don't know that it warranted what ensued, but
you don't think so?
It's sort of like the assassination of that guy in Austria. And then like 50 million people died in World War II. It was like or World War I, whatever it was. Yeah, a little bit of an overreaction.
Ferdinand is Maxime Talbot. I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
I mean, no. I think that could have been the Flyers. That could have been the Rangers. Certainly, if that was the Rangers, we'd still be talking about it more frequently. Could have been anybody. It could have been friggin', who knows, Winnipeg. I mean, I think it was really just the Islanders had been a joke of a team. We have the worst attendance in the NHL. Our arena has bats flying around in it. It's called the Mausoleum for a reason. And you go in there and it's the stench of failure. And, the Islanders diehards and listen, let me be clear. Let me distinguish myself. I've been to like 20 Islander games in my life. There are guys who've been season ticket holders since we were great and still going every year. And, for those guys, that game was a long time coming. It was a real chance to I don't know, make some noise and be happy, get excited.
I'm kind of like foggy now, even in the chain of events. So, was the Brent Johnson DiPietro thing? Was that game or it was the game before?
Games.
That was the game before, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then the retaliation game was the one in Long Island when Haley fought Brent Johnson.
That's right. The Islanders got up like 6-0. Fleury got pulled, I think, or maybe he was never playing to begin with. And then it started out with a couple of minor fights, and then I think Matt Martin jumped Max Talbot.
Right. The Islanders won that game like 8-0, something. Yeah.
Right.
That's a rough.
Having watched the highlights this afternoon, the final score was 9-3.
That's like the highlight of the last 20 years, basically.
For the Islanders, I think the Sean Bates penalty shot in 2002 in the quarterfinals against the Maple Leafs, which sent it to a decisive game 5. I guess I think it was still a best of 5 then. That the Islanders still lost that series, but that go-ahead goal with a couple minutes to go at the Coliseum is probably, or maybe Wade Dublowitz's poke check on the last game of the regular season in 2007, which got the Islanders the playoff berth against the Sabres. They lost.
I remember that on the shootout.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, you're really grasping at straws here. I mean, we're talking about not a lot of highlights for the Islanders, and this near playoff berth is it's like the Mary had a fucking kid. Nobody knows what happened. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Eric, I got to interrupt for a second. I feel like you're being disrespectful to the Wade Dublowitz era.
I apologize. I as far as I'm aware,
a lot of our biggest fans are also huge Wade Dublowitz fans.
Well, to all the Pens fans out there that are Dublowitz fans or Dubelowitz or however the heck you say it, much love to you guys. And Wade will. I might be Wade for all you guys know. I could be him because I don't think he's probably teaching at a junior college somewhere. I have no idea, but he's an awesome guy, I'm sure.
Eric? What was your favorite Mike Milbury trade? Was it Olli Jokinen, Roberto Luongo for Oleg Kavasha?
I think it's got to be Chara.
Was it Chara and the number 2, which became Spezza for Alexei Yashin? You think? I think
it's got to be the Chara and the pick that became Spezza.
What do you think about when you see Mike Milbury on the intermission report? What goes through your mind and your heart?
I think, like most Islanders fans, I wonder how this man has a job. It's like when you go into a restaurant and the waiter spits in your food or teabags your drink. You wonder, and then you go back a couple months later and the guy's gainfully employed. Not that that's happened to me, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think.
How is this man employed?
I think we do. So maybe we should look forward. Do you have optimism about this series, or are you just happy to be here?
Yeah, make the case. Make the case, Eric.
I'm definitely. I don't want to speak for all of Islander Nation because I'm sure that there are some delusional. I mean, diehard Islanders fans who think we're winning this series in 4, and who think our time has come this year. I will level with you guys. I think the Islanders take it to 6 games. I think if we can come out of console after the first 2 games tied at 1, I think it's possible we could go up 3-1 in the series. Coliseum is a tough place to play in the playoffs. It's loud. It's tiny. It feels like a minor league arena. And, obviously the visitor facilities are not great. And, but I think we probably lose in 6. I think Nabokov will have a good series. I think the Islanders will impress some people around hockey, but I think we come up short this year.
All right,
sadly.
but so Eric, if the Islanders win the series, like what's the storyline at the end of the series? How does it happen?
Well, I think you probably want me to say Nabokov and Tavares, but I think first off, Nabokov needs to stand on his head.
What do I want you to say? I want you to say there's no chance the Islanders are going to win. I don't want you to say that it's going to be.
Well, honestly, you were playing the double jinx card earlier. I'm going to play the double jinx card too. Pens in 4. Final goal 4 is 43-1. No, I mean, I think the Islanders could win the series.
So what? If they did though, what's what are we?
We're going to ask you to back this up with some facts.
I think the only way the Islanders win this series, I mean, obviously we can't get into a goal-scoring fest with the Penguins. You guys scored the most goals by a 12-goal margin of any team, and certainly in the East, maybe in the NHL, I think. We're not competing with that. Where I think you guys are weak, and this is what a lot of the previews have focused on, is on the penalty kill. We have a great power play. I think that could be the story of the series if the Islanders are actually able to win it. I think our power play points with Streit and Lubomir Wisnowski. It's fun to say. Try it with me. Lubo and Streit on the points, and Tavares, Molson, and Boys, our first line forwards. We have a real solid first power play unit. Our second power play unit has been coming on too as the second line of Oposo, Nielsen, and Bailey has come on. So I think the power play is the big story there, and I think also speed is the other big story there. You guys have Morrow and Iginla, 2 guys who are not young, especially if Crosby's not playing. You guys, I don't think are as fast of a team as we are. I don't think there's very many teams in the NHL that are as fast and young and, quite frankly, totally inexperienced as the Islanders. But that may play to our advantage. So I think those are the 3 intangibles: speed, youth, and the power play.
Now, let me ask you this, Eric. Looking at the Islanders roster, I got to be honest. There's not a lot of familiarity with guys beyond the top 6 or so players. What can you tell us about the bottom 6 of the Islanders? I see there are guys like Josh Bailey, who I know is a decent player. He had 11 goals this year.
Well, he's a top 6 scorer. He's our second line guy.
Okay, well you got you have Grabner on the third line.
Grabner's on the third line. He scored 16 goals this year.
Terrifying.
He's
terrifying.
He's one of the fastest players in hockey, if not the fastest skater.
Right, we know him, but there are guys.
You're right. You want me to talk to you about Colin McDonald and Matt?
We know Colin McDonald.
Casey Cizikas.
What we want to know about Colin McDonald is why is he on your third line? And how could we possibly be afraid of him?
I don't know that he's anything to be afraid of. He was signed, from what I understand, to be the Islanders' captain in our with the Bridgeport Sound Tigers. Our farm team in the AHL is in Bridgeport, Connecticut, almost as big of a bustling metropolis as Hempstead, New York. So he was signed to be there, but ultimately made the club, and he's gotten good with Tavares. I believe he lives with Tavares. Not in a Jason Collins kind of way, but in a, they're buddies. And he helps. He's a grinder. Our whole third line is full of grinders, and that seems to work out. In the fourth line, there's really it's tough to really tell which is third and fourth. All 4 of our lines really get the bottom 2 really get pretty equal play, and the top 2 get pretty equal play relative to one another too. Cizikas is a fast young player who's come on this year. He's from somewhere in Europe. Good work ethic. Martin, you guys probably know as the man who's...
Wait, hold on a second. You're the first person to ever say a player from Europe had a good work ethic. Like, that's never something... Nobody's ever said that in the national hockey media.
Are you confused? I didn't say Russia.
I
said Europe.
But now I clicked on his link, and he's actually Canadian, so it all makes sense now. Yeah. He's from Toronto.
This is why you guys got to have fact checkers. I'm like Dan Rather. I'll start making things up.
Yeah, no. That's okay. Let me ask you this question. Is Brian Straight still on the top defensive pairing?
No, no. Well, first off, Mark Streit is our top offensive defenseman.
Clearly. He's really good defenseman.
Yeah, because of Lubo, though, he's really been able to he's really been in the second D pairing at this point. And maybe even the third from a defensive standpoint. I think Hamonic and McDonald are probably our shutdown pair when we have the chance to match up against the Pens. I think those are the guys that go up against your top line.
So what you're telling us is that Travis Hamonic and what's McDonald's first name?
Andrew.
And Andrew McDonald are going to be the shutdown pair against either Crosby, Iginla, Dupuis, or Malkin, Neal, and Iginla.
And Kunitz.
I think that's right. But I mean, what do I know? It could be Lubomir and Thomas Hickey. It could be Streit and Straight. It could be we got this guy Matt Karkner, who you might be familiar with from the past, and
right.
He's a big guy. I think we might try and bulk up against you. In which case, if Joe Finley's good to go, that could happen. I mean, we're not gonna beat you guys with muscle. So I'm not sure what Capuano's thinking, but
right. So Eric, now one of the best ways to judge a team is to find out what the opponent is scared of. Like the Penguins played the Bruins recently, and the Bruins scratched Milan Lucic. We were thrilled because even though he was apparently playing like crap in Boston, he scared us. You know. What scares you the most about the Penguins? I'm sure there's a lot of stuff, but like, what are you most worried about? Who's the scariest player? What's the scariest situation? Scariest matchup?
I mean, Crosby has killed us. I think he averages almost 2 points a game against us, like historically. And obviously, I'm not really scared of your goaltending. Vokoun and Fleury, both great guys, talented and good.
Really nice people.
I'm not worried about that. Yeah, nice people.
We're more scared of our goaltending. We're more scared of our goaltending than you are, I think.
Right. I mean, I think, yeah. I'm afraid of the Islanders giving up the goal on the first shot of the game. That has happened a lot over the last couple seasons. Even with Nabokov, it still has happened. I'm afraid of getting down early against the Pens. It's happened in all the games we've lost against you guys this year. I feel like if we can score the first goal, I think we can hang in there, and it'll be a close game and a close series. But I'm afraid if it goes to be 1-0, it'll quickly become 2-0, and then by the end of the game, it'll be 6-1, 6-2, and I see that happening in at least one game in this series.
That's what's so great. That's what's so great about the playoffs. Like one goal, whoever scores the first goal, you immediately, like, it changes the whole outlook of the series. Like, I got Chicago, Minnesota on in the background, and Minnesota scored a crap goal in the beginning of the game. And, like, the air completely came out of the arena in Chicago.
Yeah, totally.
And you could tell that everybody in Chicago is thinking, like, wow, we might lose this series. And it's just one goal, and they got 7 more games to play, you know? It's great. It's the best. The playoffs are the best. Constant anxiety, constant. All right, so what's your prediction? Give me what's your final official on-the-record prediction?
My final official on-the-record prediction. Well, let me say this because I have, I might have some Islander fans out there who might want to listen to this broadcast, and I have to save face at some point. I like to call the Pittsburgh Penguins the Pittsburgh sommeliers because whether it be Merlot, Cabernet, Pinot Noir, Pinot Gris. You guys love wine, and you love to complain to the refs. And that's my cheap shot. I had to get that out there. I think the Pens win the series in 6. I think the first game is not going to be close. I think, like I said, it's going to be 6-2 Pens, something like that. I think the Islanders squeeze out a win in the second game, squeeze out one of the 2 games at the Coliseum, and then lose a couple.
Do you notice, Eric, how we're not reacting to that remark? This is going to be a sign of things to come. The Penguins are also not going to react to the Islanders' provocations, thereby denying them the opportunity to put their power play to use. I predict that there will be a total of 15 Islander power plays in this series. They will score at a healthy 30% clip, but that's still only 5 power play goals, and they won't make a difference. The Penguins in 5.
Now, the reason we're not reacting is actually because, like, Brendan Morrow and Jerome McGinn are in our ear right now, calming us down, bringing their intangibles to the podcast, just like guiding us through with their leadership. So, yeah, no, there's I don't know about the whining thing. I'd phrase it. I'd put it a little differently. Like, I know that was just a gag, cheap shot, but there is like an emotional meltdown potential for the Penguins just because they did it last year against the Flyers, and that's like one thing that actually does concern us. I don't think it's going to happen this year. It hasn't really happened during the regular season except for like 1 or 2 times, but there's something to the idea that if things start going against the Penguins, it could snowball against us. Through our own fault, like definitely through our own undoing. But
yeah, we've got a healthy respect for the men from Long Island. Are you guys moving to Brooklyn next year? By the way,
we are. I recently moved to Brooklyn, and the Islanders will be following me about a half mile away to the Barclays Center.
That's perfect.
In a couple seasons, 2015, 2016, they're trying to get out of their lease in Nassau County a year
in
early.
2 seasons.
Could be 2014, 2015.
Where do you stand on the uniforms? The black and white versus the blue and orange?
I think we'll release a 3rd jersey, which has the black and silver, and I think you will start to see people who you would not ordinarily see in hockey jerseys wear those around the borough of Brooklyn, and the Islanders will be hip and cool in a way that nobody could have ever imagined. But I hope that they do not get rid of our blue and orange NY interlocking with the silhouetted orange island in the background, because as you guys may or may not be aware, Brooklyn is geographically located on Long Island. There is no reason to change our name or logo.
A lot of tradition there, man. A lot of tradition.
That's right. Politically, it's part of New York City, but geographically part of Long Island. And the Long Island on the Islanders logo actually is cut off and cropped so that not all of Brooklyn and Queens are visible in it. So something may need to change, but hopefully not too much. And yeah, like you said, a lot of tradition and history, and none of which I was alive for. And hopefully I'll be able to be around for some of the good stuff coming up soon.
When you see Rihanna walking around in a week in a black and silver Brooklyn Islanders jersey, that'll probably be the end of it. That'll just I would imagine that would drive you up off the wall.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think Rihanna's still going to be making music in 2015.
Finesse, I think this man gets a name.
Yeah, what do you want to name yourself? Come on.
Oh man, I really.
You want to go? We'll name. I mean, we could name you long term.
Yeah, you can name me. You can name me 15-year, long term. Bad knees, broken pelvis.
What was did Trottier have a nickname?
Well, yeah, that's a good idea. Trots, yeah, an Islander Penguin share. Because did some good with us, did some good with you guys.
Yeah, remind us of the all that we have in common.
Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna forego a nickname. I'll let you guys give me one.
All right, we'll designate one for you. Thank you for coming on. You have Penguins in 6. Artistry has Penguins in 5. I have Penguins in 5 as well. It's been educational. It's been fun. Do you want to send any message to the Islanders fans? Any final word of optimism before we let you go?
If there's a single Islander fan listening to this podcast, first off, give me a call. We probably know each other. Second off, I'm sorry if I haven't upheld the strict code of Islander fandom, which of course is to be delusionally, blindly faithful to the Isles and all that they stand for and once stood for. But no, I still think the Pens win. And even though I hope against hope that, like I said, the Virgin Mary pushes forth another child and the Isles take it. But we shall see. And thanks so much for having me on here. This is quite a good thing you guys got going here. So keep on doing it.
All right, Eric, we appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. We'll be live tomorrow night after the game, everybody. I have Little Artistry here. Little Artistry, you want to say the sign-off? Until next time, GTOG. Can you say that, buddy? Until next time, GTOG.
Until next time, GTOG.